back, everyone. Welcome back to another week, another edition here of the OSC, the OSC mid-season playoffs, number 1, day 6 for 2026. I'm of course your OSC VIP, with you, and joined by these amazing players and by the people in the chat as well. Welcome one and all. To again the mid-season playoffs. For those that are curious, for those that are unaware, this event is a massive tournament, going to be spanning multiple months here, as we're already 7 weeks in, and the event itself is catered towards, or is featuring, the best players in the world when it comes to the online tournament circuit. For those that are unaware, OSC, they do partner with almost every online tournament out there to provide points to lead into the mid-season finals and the end-of-year finals as well. Think of this like the World Championship, but for online tournaments. What does this mean? This means that online events, or players that don't compete in these tournaments, are not going to be seen in events like this. So players like Cyril, Rainer, they're not really active in the online tournament circuit, so they will not be participating in an event like this. But all the others, I mean, they will be there. And again, it is a massive bracket, a lot to get into. Oh boy. Here we go again. This is day 7, so week 7 of the event itself. Again, still has been ongoing, and it is also double elimination, which kind of adds to just the intensity of the tournament and just how many matches are being played and how much StarCraft is going on. Let's go. Let's catch up. Let's catch up on the bracket itself. Let's figure out where we are and where we are headed. Un momento. Here we go. Beautiful. Okay. So speaking of all these players here, bam. Beautiful. Okay, so when it comes to the event itself, exclamation mark B in the chat to have a look at the back yourselves. As you can see here, we have 21 Protoss players, we got 10 Terran and 9 Zerg. We have Arrowfire, Art, the other Arts, Azura, Creature, Goblin, Geralt, Hearthstone, Hydra, Jimmy, Cristiano, Ledlix, Max Pax, Middle VK, Nightmare, Rebellion, Sebestas, Shameless, Showtime, Skilless, and UED Soldier for Protoss. We've got Baby Marine, Bunny, ByuN, Cure, Defiance, Honmono, Milky Cow, Moja, Nickrat, Percival for Terran, and for Zerg we have Chem, Fiant, Jijin Machine, Hatsu, Lambo, Mini Zerg UA, Solar, and Young Yako. So we do have a full, I believe, round of 64 bracket, or just under that as well, but we do have a full bracket to compete, to play through, and again, we have been slowly progressing through the event week after week after week. As you can see here, we do have the upper bracket quarterfinals ready for us here. We have Max versus Percival, Solar versus Showtime, ByuN versus Shameless, and Cure versus Skilless. We are going to be covering ByuN versus Shameless first. That's going to be our first series of the broadcast at TvP, and then we move down to, bam, the lower bracket. As you can see down here, we have a massive lower bracket to also progress through, and we'll be going through a lot of these matches here in tonight's broadcast. Oh boy, here we go. So again, just ByuN versus Shameless, and then bam, we head down to the lower bracket and we cover all the lower bracket matches we can. It's going to be 7 best ofs in total here tonight. A lot of content, a lot of StarCraft. Oh boy. Here we go. Up first, though, we do have our TvP series. Game 1 is going to be on 10,000 feet. We're jumping on in. And spawning in the top left-hand corner of 10,000 feet, we have the South Korean Terran player. We have the Red Terran representing Shopify Rebellion. It is ByuN. And spawning in the bottom right hand corner, we have his opponents. We have the blue Protoss player. The blue Protoss player himself representing Stouty Balls. It is Shameless. And if you're in the chat, you know what time it is. It is Gamba time. Predictions are open. Place your bets on who you think will claim the series. Best of luck in the chat. Best of luck, Pappy. Best of luck. So we're jumping into our best of 3. We will have some best of 5s later on in the evening, as a lot of the lower bracket, if not almost all of it, is pure best of 5s. It's gonna be a lot to get through, a lot to get to, a lot to experience. We'll make it. But now though, welcome to 10,000 feet. Again, 10,000 feet is an interesting map in the map pool. It's a small map, yes, but also very defendable as well. As a result, we do often see a lot of mid to late game play here. But I'm curious to see how aggressive ByuN is going to be. ByuN is typically the aggressive player here in TvP, as most Terran players are. So we expect early timing attacks, we expect all-ins. I will say that ByuN, he usually shies away from pulling the boys. That's not really his go-to. When I think of players pulling the boys and going for a 2-base all-in, I think of Bunny, I think of Cure, I think of Maru, I think of Clem. I don't really think of ByuN in that respect, but he still does go for some aggressive moves. He still does go for timing attacks. He's still willing to go into like 3 reactors, for example, into these big stim timings. He's still willing to be in your face. We'll see what he goes for here in game number 1. For now, ranks expand single gas. We do see an economic start out of ByuN. Meanwhile, Shameless across the map just going for a standard opener as well. Everything so far is looking as it should be. Right now, we're looking to keep an eye on what Shameless's take of choices will be, whether it's the Twilight Council or a Stargate, or whether he goes into Blink or into Charge, and whether we go into a high or low gateway count to try to determine exactly how aggressive Shameless plans on being. Likewise, once we determine that, we'll see how ByuN also builds up into the mid game. Already we see here a reactor after the Marine, and we do see the factory as well. Okay, couple different things here. So ByuN, no SV scout. He does not scout across the map. He's not aware as to what Shameless is up to. No worker scout and no Reaper scout either, as we skip the Reaper going Marine into reactor. So scouting is going to be delayed. Scouting is going to be very, very delayed here by ByuN. I will say that this can be punished pretty hard by some quirky builds, but quirkier builds like Stargate play or early Charge, for example, or even robot openers are very niche, right? Like diverting away from Twilight Council Blink is a little more rare. When I think of players that do this, I think of like Hero or Classic, and that's kind of it. Maybe there's like some other niche players as well that do like delve into some, maybe Creator, like he also does like to mix in like some quirky builds at times. But when it comes like standard TvP, which is common, I mean, there's really less reason to scout early on. You can get away with it. So from here, we have our 1-1-1 follow-up. It is going to be a Cyclone after the Tech Lab. Do we go for the add-on swap here? Do we get another Tech Lab? We'll see how we build up that starport. Meanwhile, big shout out to Neelis in the chat. God, thank you so much for subscribing for 2 months. Thank you. I appreciate the cast. Thank you. We appreciate you. Thank you for the support. Thank you. So now we're building up. It is going to be Cyclone first into add-on swap. Okay, so we are going for the add-on swap. It is going to be a medevac before said swap, bear that in mind. From here, Adept does get called out, and ByuN can start to be active, and not just with the Cyclone, but with all these Marines. Here we go, Marines, a load up. We boost across map. ByuN, he's pushing early on. The goal here is to catch any early gateway units. Thankfully, Shameless does have a safety battery here at the natural, so with the battery, the Stalker should be okay. The main base has no battery. The main base is more open, is more exposed. We'll see where ByuN hits. Where he hits, he does hit the natural. So ByuN is going to be moving in. The second Stalker, third Stalker has warped in as well, just in time. Ideally, they want to focus on the Cyclone or the medevac. And the medevac does boost into the main. Yeah, Stalkers are distracted. Main base is exposed. There's a defensive warp in. And ByuN, he'll get one probe. He'll get one probe. He might get a second. Not quite. Oh no! The medevac gets very, very low. One shot away from going down. Will barely get away here just to get one more worker kill. Does pick up and will pull out just in time. Thankfully, Blink was not done. Blink just now finishing up here, so that could have been disastrous for ByuN, and now it's time to counterattack. So what was that? 2 probes. 2 probes, the medevac does survive, but the Cyclone is pinned down in between the bases, and now Shameless can push. Shameless behind this, how many gateways? He had 1 gate with the natural, he had 3 gates in the main, 4 gate Blink. Hyper aggression. Now ByuN did scout this. ByuN is aware he has a bunker on the way, he has a tank in position. Tank volley going off. Nice tank shots. Softening up the Stalkers. Stalkers are softened up. ByuN so far, he is holding. And Shameless, he is expanding behind this. Remember, 4 gate Blink is not an all-in, but you do need to deal damage here. This army just posturing and just waiting outside the natural is not good enough. Shameless needs to deal some damage. Stalkers, they get a kill in the bunker. It is something. Can he get on top of the tank? Not quite. Yeah, barely not. You can see the warp ins, I was about to say they continue. There we go. It looks like Shameless was distracted. The Raven harassed back at home. Cyclone drop back into the main base. We had 1 probe kill so far, but now getting up to 4. Yeah, 4, 5, 6 probes going down. At the same time, Shameless, he dies. He does bring down the tank. There is still no bunker. And Shameless, can he overwhelm? There's 1 tank left. Oh, now that I say that, second tank does move down. 2 tanks are setting up on the low ground. Stalkers, they pick away at the wall. Oof. Stalkers are punished. And how many workers went down? In total, 13 probe kills. The Cyclone was eventually cleaned up, but good damage. Good damage here by ByuN, softening up the economy or weakening the economy of Shameless and defending back at home. It was a bit of a shakier defense here, lost the bunker, lost the tank, but ByuN survived the aggression. And from here, ByuN is getting ahead. ByuN is up in workers, ByuN has mules, ByuN has a greater economy, at least currently. Shameless, he needs more damage. The War Prism will distract, so can they move in? He's going for the dive. He gets one tank, he gets one, he gets two. Yeah, one. Ooh, two tanks go down, just barely. Ah, but now they're stim. Yeah, this time they're stim with the Marines. Enough time has passed and stim will punish. ByuN is holding on. Now he doesn't have to rely on those tanks. And Shameless does pull away. Shameless, he does pull away. Back at home, we do have Shameless trying to saturate his 3 bases, building up. From here, we should be working towards some splash damage and charge. Charge did complete. No forge, might I add, and no forge yet, no upgrades. Bay now gets thrown down. That'll be for Colossus production. But again, this is much later here for Shameless. Ideally, he did want to still get a little bit more damage done. Failed to do so, and this now gives ByuN some momentum. ByuN does have momentum coming into this. So far, soon to be moving out. He's got his upgrades. He has Stim, Combat Shields +1, and Concussive Shell. Looking good. See a drop set up here on the right hand side. And here comes the main move out. Now, there's a world where this push would be threatening enough to maybe kill. Imagine a world where ByuN did lose his tanks. Right now, ByuN, he lost 3 tanks in total. If this was a 4-tank move out with all these Marauders, that can not just break the 4th base, but even potentially break the 3rd. Here with only 1 tank, this army can threaten, should not break through the expansion. Dropping to the main base will distract, of course, in defensive war pins, and the main army does push through the center, but I believe this was scouted by the Observer. Yep, Shameless did scouts. Coming from behind. ByuN does siege the tank, but here come the Zealots. Yeah, they get on top of the tank. The tank will go down. Oh, they do tank a bunch of mine shots. And we're running out of Zealots. Oh, no, yeah, he's running out of Zealots, running out of charge shots. And even despite having 4 tanks, ByuN, he's still overwhelmed. Still breaks through. Subsets forward, busts into the mineral line. Only 2 Zealots now, 1 Zealot left, down to 0. Only Stalkers remaining. And with that, ByuN has done it. ByuN, he has done it. He has broken Shameless at the same time. The drop in the main base still not cleaned up, by the way. There's still the 1 Marine. It goes down. The 1 Marine does fall, but again, that's game-ending damage. GG gets called, and ByuN, he will claim game number 1. GG. Whew. GG, well played. ByuN, he will take a lead in the series. Again, ByuN, he just snowballed out of control. He broke free from the container. As I mentioned at the time, the 4-gate blink build of Shameless needed to do more damage. Yes, was able to kill a couple of tanks, which was good and all, but ideally even more damage was needed there. As you saw, even without those 4 tanks, ByuN still had a great enough ground army. He still broke through. This is partially twofold. One, the Stalkers, they needed to deal more damage. That is true, but the other hand, the counter damage from ByuN. Remember, he killed 13 probes. 13 workers went down in a combination of Marine harass, of the Cyclone drop as well, the Raven harass. True, remember the Raven? We weren't giving it too much attention, but in total 13 workers went down, so Shameless fell further behind, and that put more pressure on Shameless to need to do more damage, which again, he wasn't quite able to achieve. GG. GG, well played. With that, we're now going to be loading into game 2. Going to be loading into White Rabbit. Let's go. Let's go. Spawning in the bottom hand corner of White Rabbits, we have the red Terran player. We have the red Terran player himself. We have the South Korean Terran representing Shopify, leading the series 1-0. It is ByuN. And spawning in the top right hand corner, we have the blue Protoss player, the blue Protoss himself, representing Stowny Balls. It is Shameless. We go. Getting into our second game of the series. And we're loading into a larger map this time. Welcome to White Rabbits. Again, larger map of the map pool. Longer rush distance by ground as a result of that. Oh, looks like there was a bit of a pause. Looks like there were some latency issues, but hopefully everything is cleared up as we delve into our game. And from here, once again, we'll see if Shameless... I mean, I doubt Shameless will go 4-gate blink this time. We saw it last game with mixed results. It's something you don't want to rely upon in the series. So we're expecting either 2-gate or 3-gate instead of 4. Ooh, as ByuN, he does set up the eBay block. The SCV gets across the map, and that's going to be a late realization out of Shameless. Ay. So the way this works here is that this eBay should not finish. You do finish it up past the halfway mark to get as much health as possible on the eBay, and because of that, you cannot expand. Yeah, Shameless, he is forced to expand elsewhere. You can see the SCV here of... Actually, no, Shameless is going for the Zealot. Shameless, he doesn't want to take the unnatural third base, the unnatural natural. So basically, typically in this kind of situation, because Shameless cannot expand, Shameless is forced to expand at a third location instead, which does leave him very vulnerable and very exposed, especially on White Rabbit, which has a very, very long distance between these bases. The third and the fourth base and the natural, they're all very far away from each other, more so compared to other maps, and that would be a death sentence. So Shameless, he says, you know what, I have to expand on my natural base. I'm going to make a Cybercore, going to make a Zealot, and I will go for a delayed expansion. With that, ByuN happily has an economic edge. His CC is already on the way, and Shameless cannot expand until this eBay is dealt with. So a very nice lead early on here for ByuN. There's a cancellation. There's a Nexus. Oh, and it's going to be a Stargate opener. Okay, bold move. I mentioned earlier at the start of the series how Stargate play, Robo openers as well, are much more niche in this matchup, and I do stand by that, which is why it's great to see Shameless mix things up and go for a Stargate here in Game 2. Now, when it comes to Stargate play, something we should mention here is that it does leave you vulnerable. Stargate play is great when it comes to harassing. The Reaper pokes in, gets one probe kill. But Stargate play is amazing when it comes to harassing, when it comes to gaining map vision at least, and harassing across the map. The issue here with Stargate play is it does leave you vulnerable to all ins. When it comes to main pushes, Phoenixes and Oracles can't really help too much. Yes, there's a world where maybe a stasis trap goes off and catches the main army and forces a big delay and maybe even a better fight for the Protoss. But that's quite rare to see. Usually the Oracle is just used to harass and just used to scout. It does mean that a Blink, for example, or Immortal production is going to be delayed in favor of these harassing units. Which is why typically Stargate play means that the Protoss player is going to be vulnerable to aggression. But now though, ByuN getting to his own 1-1-1, natural base is floating over, and we have the 3-1-1 follow-up here. Everything is looking pretty normal. We do have a tank production underway now for ByuN. Building up his tanks, setting up defensively. And initially what this comes down to is how many workers can Shameless kill, as Shameless is even waiting for a second Oracle. Shameless is waiting. In doing so, he's going to be found out. Yeah, ByuN gets behind the mineral line, gets one, gets two pros with the Reaper, and gets a full scout, confirms the Stargate, and back at home, ByuN can now get ready. Again, Stargate play in this matchup is heavily reliant on lack of scouting, lack of vision, and catching a player off guard by all these Oracles, blindsiding ByuN ideally, but now he knows. Now he knows, and back at home, we see the Cyclone is in the main base, and the Marines are positioned here at the natural. Yeah, double Oracle driving on the tank. Oh no! It dives on the tank, mass repair, Marines and Cyclones, they respond, getting one Oracle kill, massive pickoff. The tank will not go down. Yeah, the tank won't go down. Punishing the ground army here. The Stalkers, the Zealots, will get punished. And these are some heavy losses for Shameless. I don't know if you noticed there, but the goal was to activate the Oracles to focus on the tank, kill the tank, and then break the natural. But the tank survived. We saw a little bit of miscontrol there. We saw that ByuN was very quick to reposition the Cyclone, very quick to pull the boys to repair. Tank survived, and Shameless falls behind. Oh. Shameless does fall behind. Looking at the unit source tab here, as you can see, losing a Stalker, an Adept, the Oracle, and 5 workers, and has dealt so far 0 counter economic damage. And again, especially after losing that Oracle, that is brutal. He's down to 1. So 1 Oracle. Okay, Stasis goes off, will delay to attempt to try to get some extra damage here, but again, Stasis will go off. This will delay the main push here from ByuN. Shameless will have some seconds, some extra seconds here to respond, to build up those defenses. There we go, we have Sentries warping in, more Zealots as well. Ooh, the Oracle gets caught out by the Cyclone. That should not have happened. Ay, ay, ay. That's both Oracles going down for a Stasis Trap, essentially. For a Stasis Trap. Oh. Yeah, a little bit unfortunate movement and pathing there from ByuN, as it does go over the revealed rocks. Probe does confirm as well. Ooh, but this is not seen. Yeah, this is not seen. The main push here is coming, and ByuN commits. He commits across the map. Again, Shameless is aware of the drop at least, but that's all he's aware of. He doesn't realize how committed ByuN is. Shameless setting up his own counterattack. We may get a little bit rowdy here. Uh-oh. We're getting rowdy. Catching on one of the Stalkers. He gets 1. 1 Stalker goes down. ByuN commits across the map. As he commits, they'll say, we'll go for the counterattack. There's nothing at home to defend. Give us a base trade. ByuN turns around. Okay, ByuN turns around on some of the reinforcements. He still commits with the main army. He still commits. There is 0 splash damage. Oh, we got a couple of feedbacks. Very nice, actually. Yeah, nice feedbacks, but the tanks do siege. Oof, a nice force fields as well, locking down the army. Again, there's a couple of nice moments here for Shameless. He feedbacked the Metamax, he force fielded in the Marauders, but it's a numbers game. The reality here is that ByuN has too much. Back at home, ByuN defends. He was able to fully wall off. Zealots are deflected, and ByuN is snowballing out of control. He kills the natural, and now can push into the main. The boys. The boys, where did we come from here? That was not meant to happen. As you can see, ByuN is racing back home. They were not meant to come across the map. Bit of a mistake there from ByuN. I mean, he was trying to escape the Zealots, of course. And ByuN is being cleaned up. Okay. Shameless, he holds, he survives, but at what cost? What did it cost him? The natural. The entirety of the natural expansion here. Shameless is down in workers, he's even on bases. I say even on bases, he's behind on bases because ByuN's 3rd TC is already done. Yeah, it's already complete. Now, the fact that ByuN pulled his workers all the way across the map does hurt his economy, that is true, and he'll have to restabilize from here. But he will be able to. He'll be able to restabilize, be able to build back up. Academy's on the way, building up a ghost production. Meanwhile, Shameless, likewise, still has to lick his wounds and try to build back up as well. ByuN has more momentum. Shameless needs time. Needs a lot of time here. As there is still no splash damage. We're still very Zealots reliant. Yeah, it's not even mining. Catching out 1, 2, 3 probes. Oh. Catching out a couple of workers. Likewise, ByuN, he is now securing his 3rd. Securing the expansion. Building up into the mid game. Now investing into Cloak. Building up his ghost counts. The reality here at this point is that ByuN doesn't have to push. Like, there's nothing pressuring ByuN to move into any bases because ByuN knows that he's ahead. The pressure instead is on Shameless. So ByuN can just chill. He isn't though. Okay. I was about to say that if ByuN moves out now, another Zealot round by could once again try to cripple his economy, but Jesus, we are leaving a minefield behind this. It's a lot of mines. Yeah, Zealot Rabbi will go through all these Wither Mines, then that should be enough to at least soften up the army. If not just outright bring it down. Shameless distracting here on the right hand side. Oh, Shameless baiting out some of the mine shots. Ah, but this will alert ByuN. Yep, ByuN turns around. As ByuN was notified. Zal's trying to move in. They are spotted. Yes, ByuN is still sharking around. This time we do have 2 active Zealot armies. So around on the right hand side, we do have a bit of a minefield here, a handful of Wither Mines. Oof, got some brutal connections, ByuN defends. Likewise moves in, shows those EMPs, gets 1. Yeah, 1, 2 EMPs land. We have enough room for a 3rd. There it is, that 3rd and final EMP with the Archons. They go down, and Shameless cannot keep up. He cannot keep up, not with this kind of army, not without any splash damage, and again, he just couldn't afford it. Couldn't afford it, too many losses early on. Losing his natural expansion, that was almost game then and there. The game did continue, of course, but as you mentioned, the pressure was on Shameless to make something happen, and Shameless did not all in. He chose not to all in, he chose to try to macro instead, which is so difficult to build up from a deficit at this level of play. So difficult. As ByuN is now getting a 4th CC, 2nd starport. Reinforcing his main army. And now we just trickle in. We're just trickling with Zealots, one after the other. Got any kites well. And still we can just aim it across the way. It's just a rough position to be in here. Again, it was just a rough start for Shameless to lose a little momentum. I mean, I'm referring a lot to the natural waste falling, but even before that, if you recall, the Oracle opener, right? The Stargate opener into the Oracles, trying to commit into the tank, if you recall, for in that moment when everything went south, like that was the moment where ByuN gained momentum and he never let go. Never let go. He held on badly, and GG well played. ByuN, who will claim the series 2-0. He will take down Shameless and advance on into the upper bracket semi-finals. GG. Whew. GG well played. Again, just very rough start there, very rough early game for Shameless here in game 2, as we try to emphasize. Did take the risk of going for a Stargate opener, and with going for the Stargate opener, built up to 2 oracles, and the goal there was to break the natural, was to focus on the tank and to try to overwhelm. If you recall, failed to kill the tank, failed to break through, did instead end up losing his oracles and end up losing his gateway army as well, and everything just started to go south from there. GG. GG well played. With that, ByuN will claim the series, and we are getting ready for our next matchup. Once again, we do have a plethora of series available here tonight. A lot of games, a lot of matchups, a lot of StarCraft. Let's jump into our ZVT. Up next, Nickrat versus Eva in a Zerg versus Terran matchup.